Let's talk about Impossible Creatures. It's a game where you command genetically modified animals to slaughter one another by the thousands. A game where playing God and somehow giving a gorilla the gift of flight by slapping mosquito wings on it makes just as much sense as turning a giraffe's GI tract into a fire hose by splicing in the DNA of an anglerfish. It was developed by Relic Entertainment, who are probably best known for the first two Homeworld games, the Dawn of War franchise and Company of Heroes. But to understand what makes this game great, we need to go back. Back to the year 2003, when one of the developers at Relic, still riding high on the success of Homeworld, said something to the effect of, "I don't know, space is great, but what if we made an unhinged RTS about stitching together animals with unchecked science like your Shout Tucker?" Who the f*** is Shout Tucker? Edward. Seriously though, 2003 kicked ass for games, especially RTSs. You had Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne, Command and Conquer Generals, and Homeworld 2, which would release just a couple months after Impossible Creatures. You also had Wind Waker and KOTOR, so if you missed Impossible Creatures, it's kind of forgivable. I did, and I loved RTSs, but little me was too busy going sicko mode in Big Mother Truckers. The game centers around a protagonist named Rex Chance. Rex is a man. He's a manly man.
Look, I've got a proposition for you.
But geez, I'm flattered, Mr. Chance, but I don't, I ain't into, you know.
Men want to be him, and all the ladies love him. Rex is pretty cool about the revelation that there's a mass cross-hybridization plot, but he mentions at one point in the game that he's a war reporter who's covered burning villages, so after the shit he's seen, this is just another Tuesday. Like most of the cast, what really gives me the giggles though is that at absolutely no point in this entire game does anyone call out how inhumane what they're doing is.
This island is teeming with wildlife, Rex. It will be an excellent place for us to expand our library of genetic stock.
Like, can that wolf even clean its crotch? Does it have a crotch? Are you okay, wolf? The closest you'll get to them acknowledging the Michael Vickian levels of abuse is when Lucy and Rex have a lover's quarrel about whether or not this technology should exist to help mankind. And maybe this is my own autism scratching too loud, but I was hoping that they'd debate what kind of quality of life a great white shark with the nuts and bolts of a literal ant might have outside of water. It's revealed later in the game that Rex is a product of the original Sigma research, and that he's the only perfect hybrid, which gives him the ability to control creatures without the aid of shock collars.
Controlling the animals. Somehow you are controlling them directly. Rex, I don't know how this is possible.
The other leading characters and villains I did really enjoy. Although he's not in the game proper, I had to add Rex's dad, Dr. Chanikov, because of this one scene in the beginning where Rex is reading a letter written from him, and instead of it being a separate voice actor, or even just reading it normally, Rex literally just imitates his father's accent, and that was when I knew I'd found a gem.
My son, at last I found you. I've been on these islands for years, working in exile, to protect both you and myself, but I'm growing old.
Then you've got Lucy Willing, who is the lab assistant to Rex's father, Dr. Chanikov. Lucy saves Rex at the start of the game, and for the first half is the only one of the two who actually contributes anything of value, being able to harvest resources and build structures. The villains? They're a work of art. They're all such on-the-nose stereotypes or tropes, but when the game revolves around such a goofy premise, hey, it works. The first of the three main baddies is Whitey Houghton, loudmouth whaler pit boss. Then Valika Lepet, who's essentially Cruella de Vil but Frencher and more shriveled. The mission where you finally square up with Lepet is some old bullshit, and what I consider to be the hardest mission in the game. The third villain is Dr. Ganglion, who you actually team up with for a minute before he shows his true little bitch colors. But he talks like Igor and has this amazing scene.
Oh yes, the keys. Oh, it's very funny to me. Oh, I tickle myself. My little weird science giggles are infecting my brain. Oh,
and the main villain, Upton Julius, or Himu Dr. Robotnik, who's murdered Rex's papa and wants to use his Sigma status to control his crazy critters. Upton Funk has the proportions of a bowling pin, and appears throughout cutscenes to basically just pick on Rex. In fact, 9 times out of 10, this type of character would be strapped with a pistol, but uppies don't roll like that. What he does roll with, though, is a giant-ass ape Pokemon, whose only move is Steal Yo Girl. The original name of the game, by the way? Sigma, The Adventures of Rex Chance, because the whole game revolves around Rex being 150% him.
Run! He's taking control of them!
There's some side characters as well, with some dialogue between the henchman, who's your quintessential thug type, and then some mildly culturally insensitive South American tribes.
You speak English? Great. Me, friend. Me need help.
You don't say. Your woman is very pretty. Is she for sale? We surrender!
They must have paid out the ass for the voice actor who did the henchman, because you'll hear this line by him every time you're in combat.
For a while.
The critters are under attack! The critters are under attack! The critters are under attack!
The gameplay is pretty straightforward as far as RTS games go. You have your main base units to gather resources, your structures for pumping out fighting units, and your upgrade buildings to make your beasties stronger, along with some defensive towers that'll get knocked down if a single enemy with rhino blood so much as breathes on them. That being said, for the areas that seem generic, you get some solid relic flavored modeling here, and all the units, buildings, and sounds are respectable for 2003. The UI layout is also pretty unique, and they make it very obvious that you have macro groups and will not be controlling more than X amount of units at a time without some StarCraft level binding skills. Pathing is about what you'd expect from that era though, and I think this was the only thing in the game that actually made me verbally angry at it. Enough to cuss.
Yeah, no
Our
shit,
base is under
because these
attack.
guys won't go in the right fucking direction.
You have several options for your creature's stances, from full hunt you down aggression mode to stand there and take it, you naughty mantis, with my default at all times being attack what you see, but please don't all 15 of you expensive tier 5 rhino bees all fly directly into the enemy base and get zapped to death. I haven't used mods as I wanted to give this review as much of a vanilla experience as possible, but they do exist, and I've been told that the Tellarian mod greatly enhances the base game by adding new creature types and abilities, so check that one out if you get a chance. I only mention mods because not all critters are built equally, and while I'll cover that more in the next section, it's a little disappointing that some animals are basically unusable in any situation, because part of the charm in a game like this is exploring what creatures actually swing the tide of battle. I noticed some of the more creative aspects of the game kind of fall off about halfway through. At first, to unlock new buildings, you need to move Lucy to an enemy version of it, at which point she unlocks the ability to deal a ton of damage to a structure. There's also a mission where you first get water spitting beasts that you have to use to put out fires that literally just never shows up again. Unlocking creatures stays consistent, using Rex to shoot a DNA dart at new animals you encounter during each new map. Being a re-release with some fixes added to it, I was pretty happy to find Impossible Creatures was almost entirely bug-free. Get it? By the way, make sure when you complete a mission, Rex isn't actively being attacked, because this can apparently happen and screw up like an hour of a run. Oh yeah, this is the game's real magic right here. Who doesn't enjoy horrifically altering the DNA of 2 gentle creatures to create an army of abominations to fight on your behalf? UI is pretty cool and interesting looking, and the fact that mixing different parts of the creatures, like the head, the torso, legs, it'll change how the creature plays out and how it operates. Use the poison frog head, you get a poison ranged unit. Need extra attack and extra defense? Slip slap a lioness and a ram together and you got it. You can spend hours in here theory crafting, and it says a lot about the devs that they made something so engaging. That being said, I've tried out countless flying builds, and at no point in the entire game have I discovered a combination of units that doesn't get absolutely shredded by enemy turrets. So for as much fun as it is to make a Jeregal or a Vulpopotamus, there's a high likelihood they'll use whatever autonomy they have to fly directly into a zapper and waste the very limited resources you get towards the end of the game. The lobster, on the other hand, is the undisputed heavyweight of claw-to-claw combat. I mean, look at these stats. Lobsters slap harder than a Four Loko, but unlike my intestines when I was 21, have immunity, allowing them to heal themselves after a fight, which is more than I can say after consuming whatever poison was in those insane roller coasters of a beverage. The creatures you really want, lobster or bull. Either of those are overpowered nightmare fuel, with scorpion and elephant also being pretty viable. There are some missions where using chimps is entirely necessary for their ability to create artificial meteor showers. However, this should be used sparingly because the splash damage will fuck up your own units worse than anything the enemy AI can throw at you. Impossible Creatures is a game I wish I would have played when it first came out. Sure, the concept is a little goofy and I'll never be able to pay for the souls of so many dead lobsters, but this was such a passionate project that was made by some people that know what it meant to make unique RTS games back when I was first learning what strategy meant in a video game. Does it hold up well? Kinda. But is it fun? Absolutely. At the end of the day, that's what really matters. I went into Impossible Creatures expecting nothing. I got it during the most recent Steam sale after watching some silly footage of it because it was like $3, but after sinking nearly 40 hours in, any of its flaws seemed less obvious because I was playing something just for the enjoyment of it. With so many games now built to be played as endless loops, it was refreshing to just switch my brain off and be entertained. As always, or like, as of this video being 2 years after my last one, thanks for watching if you made it this far. If I had to give Impossible Creatures a rating, it'd be 7 weird science giggles out of 10. I'm already working on another one, and I won't spoil what the game is here, but we're gonna try to make consistency a real thing from here on out, so if you like this video, give it the old thumbs up and consider subscribing. I also want to hear from you guys, so let me know in the comments what games you'd want to see me inaccurately describe. Now enjoy a song I made.
The critters are under attack. Hello. All right. The critters are under attack. 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 Henchmen under attack. The critters are under attack. The critters are under attack. The critters are under attack.